Hi, welcome back to the channel, Jantan Property, and today we're going to touch on a very hot subject, which is rental yield versus capital appreciations. Why I say it's a hot subject? Because the high interest rate and the high property prices, a lot of owners are hanging on to their unit and not moving, and some of them are keeping it for rental yield alone, which we had not seen for quite many years. So let's dive in and see what is going to happen the rest of 2023 between the rental and the capital appreciations. Okay, before we go on, let's say we start off a very simple one, is the stage of property ownership. So starting off with young people, like a couples going to get married, they get started with one properties. And after that, when their family grows and their income grows also, and with the capital appreciation from their property, they will start upgrading. And as they grow on, if they did very well in their career, they probably will actually start invest in multi-properties. Okay, that means to say they sell their original one and purchase one or two more properties for rental income. Okay, these are actually the old methods of gaining your wealth through property ownership. So it's just like the old money where a lot of wealthy people today, they gain their wealth through buying through multiple properties and collect rentals. So that was an old style when I started off about 20-30 years ago in the real estate. So and it also seems like it's happening today. So looking at the graph, since Q4 of 2021, the rental market has gone up 29.7% by end of Q4 2022. This was a very sharp increase only within 1 year. And I'm just taking an example like in the CCR, in August 2021, the rental average there was only $4.50. And it went up to $6.13 sometimes in March 2023. And somehow or other it has been hanging on to there still now. Okay, but what actually drives these rental prices go up so sharp? Okay, let's just recall. These times during this 2021 until today 2023, a lot of these demands and prices increase is because of COVID. So recalling the COVID times where there is a stoppage of projects developments where they stop the constructions because due to COVID, and on the other hand is also a lot of things happening during that time. So the supply of these projects, actually completion of this project actually stopped and then delayed. And then when 2021, 2022, when Singapore markets has opened up, due to the good performance from the Singapore governments, a lot of investors and foreigners came to Singapore to work and also invest. So this has increased the demands where the supply is still very low. So that is why it actually has a pressure on the renters to push up the rental price. And so basically a lot of landlords are so happy as they have not enjoyed this kind of high rental for many years. But is this kind of high rentals going to last? What will happen in the second half of 2023? There's about 35 projects is going to complete and getting their TOP. What is TOP? TOP is Temporary Occupation Permit, which is actually the owners can collect their key and move in. So generally, some of this unit is going to be out in the market for rental. And on the other hand, the owners that own this unit will vacate from their rental units and move on into their new homes, leaving more supplies of rental units into the market. So you can see now the supplies has gone up. And if the demand stays the same, we are almost quite balanced. So actually now the tenants who are looking for units has more choices. So you can see the rental is going to be kind of having pressure of moving downward or stay the same. This one actually has confirmed by the articles on the Business Time where the rent actually has been peaked and then viewing has fallen. So generally now the rental unit is taking a longer time to find a tenant, not like the good old days of last 1-2 years where a lot of tenants just secure a unit without even seeing the unit itself. Okay, so is this going to work where you're going to buy a lot of properties and collect rent? Well, in this kind of market, probably it's going to be tougher, but I still say that it's still possible. How? The question is, for those who are owning a property and you are intending to rent it out, Is this the right time to sell or should you hold on to it? So these are a lot of questions inside the mind. Basically, whether is it a good time to upgrade or should I just hang on? Because the replacement cost of a new unit is also very high. Like the recent implementation of cooling measure, higher ABSD and also higher stamp duty has actually prevented a lot of people from making any move. So there is a shortage of seller in the market. But as we also can see, the general markets of property in Singapore is still moving up. And there's an article in Business Times that states, in fact, the whole world property market are not doing well, except Singapore. Singapore is just like a loner basically is doing that. The property price is moving up and up and up. And a lot of people, maybe you also included, is thinking, can this sustain? I would generally believe that yes, we can sustain because we are seeing a lot of investors and a lot of ultra-rich are moving their money to Singapore. That is why our property prices keep moving up. That is why also your COE is also find it very difficult to come down. Because Singapore are stopping to purchase, but not the PR and not the ultra-rich investors who came to Singapore. Because when they moved their money to Singapore because they felt that Singapore is a very safe place to put their money. And when money is inside Singapore here, the only places they can actually put one of the main items is property. And of course, subsequently maybe it's the cars. That's why you see the COE keep going up. So if the COE moving up, the property price also will move up. That is the same theory, right? For those of you who actually own a unit and thinking of renting it out, or you may be actually thinking, should you also sell it and then build your capital and upgrade to a bigger unit or in a better area? I only have one advice for you. Money stuck in the property is just numbers. So generally, what is your goal? Why did you come into property investment? Is actually to build your assets value so that you have an easy retirement. So let's have a goal. If you are aged, whatever age you are today, when you're age 65, how much assets value you want it to worth when you reach that? Okay, do you want 1 million or you want 4 million? So generally, as examples that I know this guy has done is that he started with a HDB, he bought it at 400,000 and by the time he sold it was 700,000. When he sold it, he actually immediately upgraded to private properties, about 1.3 million at that time. And then his career picked up, his income went up, and he upgraded again after selling it. And then today, he actually owns a landed properties, which I counted the value is worth more than 4 millions. If he would actually, like most of people, was sitting on the first property, which he bought it at 400,000, today, that property I've just checked is worth about 1 million. So if he reached age 65, if he hold on to the first property, his asset value will only worth 1 million. But he keep on upgrading. Today, his asset value is worth more than 4 million. So this is what we call building your capital. Generally, why are we asking you to upgrade to a bigger unit or to a better area is actually building your capital. Even though some of the property, during certain times, there's no capital appreciations, you are still paying, it's like a forced saving that you are building your capital for the next property or to reach an asset value at a higher value when you reach age 65. So you can actually retire more comfortably. So by the time age 65, for this guy, he actually can right-size it. That means to say, sell off his landed, go down to maybe a 2-bedder or 3-bedder condo, or even go back to HDB. He will have a lot of money set aside for his retirement after purchasing a property. But he will hold on to the 1 million properties, selling away and then right-size it, it will not let him much. So for those who actually still own a property, maybe you start to think about upgrading. And for the first timer who has not owned anything, I would say maybe you can start off with just only a HDB or a new private properties. So if you are looking at private properties, there are actually 3 options that you can look at. First is a freehold new launch. Second one is a leasehold new launch. And the third choice probably a freehold or leasehold resale. So for you out there, which choice will you choose? And why do you choose them? Let us know in the comment sections below, and I'll see you in our next video.